Guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being a music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Cold War Kids, and that's Can We Hang On? So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So after enjoying the last outing from Cold War Kids quite a lot, I must admit I'm going into this new single and their upcoming album fairly excited actually. They have this melancholy indie edge to them, which is quite difficult to replicate without sounding too depressive or needlessly serious, I guess you could say as well. So shall we see what I thought of this brand new track? Oh, I thought it was fairly decent, and there are aspects here which I actually did like a fair bit. For one, I think the vocal performance was very strong and emotive, approaching the track with a more realistic and raw character rather than being manipulated too much in the mix. I also thought the progressions were fairly exciting and interesting to hear unfold, and I thought the hook of the track worked very, very well. But it's just a little stereotypical for me and cliche sounding as well, sounding like any other modern indie track with these reverb-infused instrumentals and melodies that kind of follow a plain structure. It reminded me a lot of the worst tracks coming from the latest Sundara Karma record. They had some outstanding tracks on that record, don't get me wrong, but every now and then they'd sort of carry a track just with reverb without really having any more exciting aspects in there. It's not bad though, it's far from being bad, it's just or rather not something that I can see me remembering by this time next week. Production-wise, I actually thought this track was mixed fairly decently. It sounds fairly pure and natural, and I liked how rough it was left in comparison to many other poppier tracks we've heard over the last month or so. I do think the reverb and the dissonance caused by that reverb was a little excessive in parts though, sounding like a bathroom session rather than an actual professional track. I haven't got too much to say here really, other than it all being sort of functionally strong enough, and each end was covered to my satisfaction. Even the percussion was fairly decent here as well. It's all sort of just decent really. It's nothing sort of exciting or jumping out to me, but it's certainly not bad or anything like that. It's just a decent production cycle really. Comes to the musicality of this track, I liked how the song developed and the use of dynamics both vocally as well as in the instrumentation, and I think all the aspects are there for a really solid track, but I just didn't personally connect with it at all in any aspect, which were actually fairly decent as I've already expressed. It felt like I'd already heard it all before, and I probably have at this point, but it just didn't carry that personal style or pizzazz which you'd usually expect to hear from a track by this group. I mean, Cold War Kids have a pretty recognisable style, but I didn't really hear that leak into this track. I mean, it's probably largely down to the lack of invention and imagination on this track, since we never really got too much in the way of harmonies, homophonic melodies, sectional variation, or even in the instrumentation. There's no different instruments or timbres or tones being used in there outside of the usual type of stuff, and now they all sound like very small problems, but I think it's down to me rather than the actual track. I just don't particularly think I connected with it too well with what was put in front of me. It's one of those polarizing tracks as a critic which you have to review, where you're not really stated on one side or the other, you just didn't personally think much of it. Lyrically, the track is fairly strong, I will say that. I like the themes that were being expressed here, I will say that. It felt personal, and I thought the song possessed a real heart to it actually, which did inevitably keep me entertained enough to look over the instrumentation and melodic behaviour of the entire track. So all in all, a difficult one to really talk about from my position, as it didn't really do very much wrong at all. I just didn't really take to it, I guess. So I gave it a G rating of 5.5 out of 10, which is just above average rather. If you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.